for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. We have a few event updates here. The Farmers Market opening day is Saturday, June 1st, and it'll be from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the town office. The market will run every other Saturday through October. The full schedule can be found on the website. Still looking for vendors, crafters, farmers, etc. There will be a town-wide yard sale is scheduled for June 29th, and more information can be found on the website. The other piece of information, so everybody's aware, is that we no longer have Calatapini as the town administrator, and we will be advertising for that position. In the meantime, Joanne has been gracious enough to come back to help us through this transition period, so thank you very much, Joanne. We're going to be meeting with Nancy on the investment policy. Understanding that our funds are somewhat fluid pending when money's come in for taxes and whatnot, that we've got to be not as investment wise as the trustees of the trust funds can be with long terms.
Mm-hmm.
Any recommendations you have for what we should be doing with our current funds? Do we ever accumulate?
Not at this time, because there is nothing extra. I mean, right now, we've got just enough to make June's school payment, and then effective July, the school payment is going up almost $72,000 per month.
We saw that, and we're gonna discuss that as a board
Mm-hmm.
afterwards.
Yep.
On
Yep.
that, so if you've got a few minutes to stick around after we go through the investment policy.
Okay.
Have you had a chance to see what the investment policy from 2013 was? And if so, are there any changes anyone would like to see made in there?
No changes that I'm aware of.
No, from what I read, like you said, it's not something we can really make anything that gets locked up. And even if you were to go to CDs, anytime you pull a CD out, unless you do a no penalty that gives you normally only one, you lose 3 months interest every time you make a withdrawal off. So I think anything.
So you're defeating the purpose of doing it.
Right.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
I think as long as we're putting in something that's safe and easily accessible, I think that's the best way to go. I mean, unless we were to look at, I mean, I know some of the credit unions have checking accounts that get interest, but I don't know if we even qualify for being able to use those. But that was my only other suggestion.
What I'm wondering is, what do we do with fund balance funds? Where is that
In the general fund.
parked? But that would be money that we're not having access to for the long term.
The only money that we have that falls under is two different accounts, actually. One's around 600,000, and then there's another one that's almost 60,000. That's with the New Hampshire deposit pool, and then the other one is with TD Bank. The 600,000 is with TD Bank, and that's the one that TD Bank keeps trying to get me to combine and just put into the general fund, claiming that they'll give us higher interest if we do that.
But would we be better off to look at another investment for that?
For that amount of money?
Yeah.
If
Where
it hurt.
if it's the fund balance that we can't touch unless it's an emergency or
Mhm.
by voter approval once a year.
Now, I don't know that that's what that is, because this account that I'm talking about, Beverly used to take from it if we ever got to a point where, we thought we needed to borrow.
It shouldn't be out of,
So-
a fund balance
So
account.
the fund balance, I don't
Yeah.
know that we've got anything that falls under that we can't touch,
Well-
is what I mean.
We should have somewhere in the order of $1.1 million or $1.2 million somewhere.
Have to look into that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, though, I mean, we all know too, the fund balance isn't always there because your fund balance also includes unpaid taxes.
Correct, but we wouldn't have $1.2 million in unpaid taxes that we're saying that that's fund balance.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we've looked at the unpaid taxes, and some of those accounts were fairly large.
But nowhere near $1.2 million.
Combined?
Add them all
Well,
up.
if we took 600,000 out of that, would there be 600?
Oh, could it be half of it?
Yeah.
Right.
That I would agree with,
Yeah,
yes, it
Yeah,
might be half.
that's what I was thinking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, so if we have if you have 1.2, 600,000 is what we have, and we have 600,000 in 3+ years of unpaid taxes.
And we would, the auditors that just finished doing the 2018 audit, so they would be able to tell us where the funds are, or we should be able to know where those funds are. And if it's something that we should be looking into.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
our current return on investment with TD Bank? How pitiful is it?
One.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I think it's 0.15. Very sad, yes.
Yeah, there's got to be something better out there that can ebb and flow as necessary, but still gives us some return on
We looked
investment.
into the, as far as, because that basically covers our general fund, and we looked into going elsewhere, and we actually had split our monies between TD Bank and Citizens Bank, and Citizens, and we actually had People's Bank come in, and their charges are way too high, much higher than TD Bank's.
But we're not jeopardizing our relationship with TD Bank by putting those funds somewhere else, right?
No, no.
Are there any other accounts that come to mind? That one just popped into my mind, and I don't know if we have any others that are, for example, even, what about the funds that the Conservation Commission has for the accumulated
Accounts that they have,
current use
yeah,
tax?
yeah, that's done at TD Bank.
Could we look at an investment for that?
Sure.
I'm just trying to think of
Mhm.
what would we
Yeah.
have that would have, you know, if it was 50 grand, I would have worried, but if we're in the hundreds of thousands, it might be
Yeah,
something
the
worth.
conservation combination of all of those is up around 245.
It's
All
a
over
quarter of a
200.
million, yeah.
Yeah. Because I think they want the flexibility that if a piece of land comes available, they can make the purchase, but
Right, and
Even
I
so.
think with that, as John said earlier, is that if you had it in a CD and you had to pull it, you're gonna lose some of your interest. But
you know,
Right.
you're losing some of what you're not even getting now, so it may,
yeah. I mean, I know that 18-month CDs are paying close to 3%.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of times they do have ones that you can get one penalty-free withdrawal, things like that. So
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
got to be some options out there to get at least something better than 1-2%.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a lot, but it's something.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, because the banks are looking for money right now because they're not getting it on interest rates on loans, so they got to get it back some way. So they're looking for money.
Yeah. What? Just as a question, what sort of a policy because this investment policy does not apply apparently to the trustees of the trust funds. What sort of a policy are they using currently, or?
I'm not sure.
They have they were given the approval to have a money manager that invests those funds for them.
Okay.
And since they did that, the returns have been very good.
Okay. Should we be considering the same, or we just don't have that flexibility?
We don't have that.
Their stuff is tied up a little bit more, is what it
Yeah.
is. And it has to. So for us, like you said, if we needed to suddenly something happened, you know,
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm just suggesting that we gotta do better, but just not sure how.
But we just don't have the kind of funds they do.
Right.
You know, when you think of all of our capital reserves and,
Yeah, oh, it's huge.
yeah.
Okay.
Although, I don't know if it would be worth a phone call to the guy, to the firm that's doing that. Say, hey, we were discussing the investment policy, we have these funds, which, you know, some of them we need to leave with some type of liquidity. Would you have any suggestions or ways of doing investments with that? And if he says no, then
Right, and so
Yeah.
a phone call.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I
Great.
mean, make, you know, I'm sure he's willing to give us free suggestions
Yeah.
if we're dealing with that sort of money, so. Can't.
or be able to tell us, yeah, I can manage that for you, or no, that's too short term, or, you know,
Yeah,
okay.
so I could do that with the 500,000, or 600,000, and then the conservation monies.
And if there's any others that you see that are coming to mind for us, that would be good.
Okay.
Good. Then other than the spelling correction on the investment policy, do we agree that
Yeah.
we'll leave it as it is?
Yeah, just update the names and dates and we're good.
And that one,
yes.
thank you. We were going to discuss the letter we received from the business administrator for SAU 87, Liz Baker, who did a calculation on what her estimation is that New Ipswich payments are going to be, and qualifying that the final rate won't be until the state determines what the tax rate is going to be and what our monthly payments would be. And in her calculations, as Nancy alluded to earlier, it's increased almost $75,000 per month. Any discussions on that?
Well, I guess my first question is is this a informational letter or is it an obligatory letter? I.e., we must pay this.
Take it however you want.
I take it as we say this.
Well, as John alluded to, is I do recall, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, when they were trying to have the town increase their payments for a certain point, and we didn't agree with them on it. And I think we sent them a letter to that to that effect.
Mhm.
And I think that might be the case here.
Yeah.
Is that we continue making payments for what we do have. It's similar to our tax payments here in town. We set the tax rate in October, November, the bills go out, and April's bills are based on that tax. We can't tell the residents, well, we calculate that it's gonna be X, Y, Z.
They've changed their payments all the time. I shouldn't say all the time, but more frequently than they should. Because our June payment is gone down from what the January to May has been.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot, I mean, $2,727. But that payment set for January to June was set. But then all of a sudden they find money or recalculate or whatever they do, they notify us that our payment's changed.
Let me ask you, because I saw the letter when it came in,
Yeah.
and what I thought was, okay, they're gonna have X amount of funds left over that they're not spending, and that's what they recalculate to make the adjustments on the last payment.
Last payment.
Yeah,
okay.
do you think that's what they could be doing?
Yeah.
But to go up 75,000 a month,
Right.
and
Right.
to pay it
Exactly.
for, let me
And-
see, June, July, August, September, October.
I mean, we've also wondered why there's such a huge difference between New Ipswich and Greenville. And they tell us that it's based on property tax value and population. I don't feel that Greenville and New Ipswich is that drastically different. That our payment should be, will be $721,000, they'll be $165,000. That's a huge difference.
But I think that's all set by the state, it's not set by the school district.
It's a percentage, yeah, they set that, I mean, and the population, you know, school population, whatever, is much less out of Greenville than it is out of New Ipswich. So that can have a huge difference, and as far as their taxes, they, you know, it's based off that's a state assessment, not the local, so. But I don't understand why we would have, because last year, effective January, so 8,293,000, and this year we have 7 million. So we're actually less appropriations. Right.
No, their budget went up this year.
Right,
Oh,
but I'm looking, so appropriations was 8,293,000 for 18-19. Am I reading that right? So I'm just looking at this number here, the top number.
yeah,
Appropriations of 8,293,000,
yep,
and that was for 18-19. Appropriations for 19-20 are 7,814,000. So the appropriations went down, but our payments have gone up.
Yeah, but if you multiply that 70,000 times 12 over 12 months, that's $1 million that's apparently missing. Or roughly something in that range, 800,000.
I'm just looking at,
no, it's gone up. Total appropriations is 8,657,000. You gotta add those two, and then,
Okay, so 8 million.
versus, call it 8,650,000 versus 8,003,000,
Okay.
roughly, round numbers. But I would like to see that we keep the current payment until the tax rate gets set, and then once that gets set, and if we end up paying more than 75,000 more months, so be it. That's
Right.
what we've committed to as a town.
Right.
So tell them, so we should be sending them a letter saying that after the 1st of July, we will,
No, it'll be that doesn't happen until October.
October?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
After October,
That's when the
October,
state
that's
sets
when
the
the state-
rate.
we, we'll go along with the state rate.
Yeah.
In October.
Go with that?
Yeah?
Yep. Behind by $250,000 or so.
Could you draft that letter, Joanne?
I'm sorry.
Could you draft the letter to her? Maybe you can pull out the one we used last time and just tweak that. The ad for the town administrator, has that gone?
Going tomorrow.
Okay.
Joanne, what venues are you going to put that in? The Ledger,
Wherever you would like.
website?
Yep, Ledger website, New Hampshire Municipal, what's
Did you
that
do
other one?
Indeed last time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Indeed.
Um, do we wanna go any farther afield? Union Leader perhaps, or? I mean,
Indeed grabs a lot of people.
Yeah, but it did last time, but a lot of them were, you know, just filling in the blanks. It's kinda like advertising for DPW, you get all truck drivers, but
Yeah.
it's worth putting in there.
okay.
For some reason, did I think that the Union Leader was like a very expensive one to advertise in?
Hmm.
Like over $100 for the ad. I thought it was much higher than here. And
And so-
in my opinion, the people that we did attract from that area last time, we didn't believe that they're gonna be in our compensation range.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, obviously, we need to attract somebody who's within 45 minutes driving
Yeah.
distance roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, which maybe goes all the way out to Keene perhaps,
And most of the people in Keene aren't buying the Union Leader, they're looking at the,
yeah,
was it Keene Transcript
Yeah,
or something?
Sentinel.
Sentinel, yeah.
Okay.
How about into Massachusetts, Fitchburg, Leominster?
There's a Fitchburg paper, I don't remember what the name of that one is.
Yeah, I
but
don't know,
Sentinel.
It's Sentinel too, yeah.
yeah, I mean,
I'd say let's hit the three that we just mentioned and
see how it
see how it
goes.
works, yeah.
Sure.
And then you had, what about the salary thing? You had-
The-
No?
No, it's not gonna be included.
Okay.
Leave it as is.
Yes,
Yes.
I can answer.
No.
Oh.
No.
Thank you.
Do we,
Oh, you wanna,
Credit card policies?
yeah, maybe you might wanna listen to the credit card policy? Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't.
Joanne, did we hold on to past applications?
What about the credit card policy?
Developing one.
Oh, the town credit card one?
Yeah.
There was just, there was one guy.
Thank you.
Have a good night, thanks for coming.
But it should be in minutes. But you could probably find his name.
I just,
The guy's name from last
yeah,
time?
I don't,
just send out
I don't know
CPs.
if we kept, I don't think we kept all
Okay.
I did.
this. What, his application?
I'd just like to reach out, see if he
Or his,
contacts or something.
I've
Yeah.
got that in that folder.
Oh, okay.
Well, after a year, if he's not working, he's probably not working.
No, he was
No, he was
working.
working.
He was working. So what we're saying is are you still with this company? Are you still interested?
Hmm.
May?
Yeah.
What'd you say his name was?
It was Mike.
Darcy?
Yep.
I think I have his, either his resume or that, I call it the 90-day plan. Something he handed out,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that day when I was cleaning out my folder, I said, I think I'm gonna keep this one. So,
Okay.
I can look it up. Okay, the credit card policy. This was a sample one, that Linda Langille had sent over from the town of Jaffrey uses. I thought for a guideline of starting one, or copying one, it was a good, baseline.
Yeah. Yeah, my question would be, instead of finance director, would we be inserting treasurer there, or?
Uh, You're further along than I am.
Oh, sorry.
Why don't you, think for just highlight on each one of our copies, those items that you wanna discuss, and then
Yep.
we can.
Yeah.
Any comments in section 1?
Nope.
Section 2?
Nope.
Okay, I do. On number 2, they reference these procedures are intended to accomplish the following: enhance productivity, significantly reduce paperwork, which I had a question mark on, improve controls, and reduce the overall costs associated with purchases. I'm thinking, I don't know how they are reducing paperwork.
Because normally you'd have to, no, like for me, if I need to, I have to go through.
But go by what the town does.
Right, I understand. But well, the thing is, I don't know. Like, so would you have to get a purchase order? So meaning I have to go get a purchase order, have the purchase order sent over. You know, or request a purchase order. So instead of having to request a purchase order, if you have it's within my budget, it's within my credit limit, I can just make that purchase without having to request a purchase order. That's the only reason I would see that it reduces paperwork. But
Okay.
other than that, yeah. Other than that, no, there's really not that much
And I don't see
reduction
how
in
you
paperwork.
reduce the overall cost, because I'm assuming you're buying a widget, it's gonna cost you X amount of dollars, no matter whether you put on your credit card or, in fact, you're probably paying a little more because you use your credit card, but, I don't know if that should get modified or not.
Well, for instance, say Peter sees a good buy on transmission fluid, and he picks up 4 cases or 5 cases instead of just 1 case, which he needs immediately, and just stockpiles the rest in his garage.
But I would hope that wherever he's buying that transmission fluid, we've set up an account.
Right. Well, I
That
understand
way
what.
there,
Maybe not.
Yeah, but I get what he's saying. Like, if you see, I mean, we had, for example, there was something that came up the other day about travel. Okay, so not that you would necessarily fits, but it's an example. Okay, so you see plane tickets for $250. Okay, by the time you go through the process of getting the right person who's then going to book them, $800. But we have to buy them because we got to get from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives them the ability to, like you said, if I see something and it's a buy it within the next X number of days or whatever, and you know what, I just happen to be searching prices, I found it. If I buy it now with my credit card, I'm good. If I don't, or we have to set up an account, or I had to get a purchase order, we lose that price, I would understand that would.
and so to me, that is what we would classify as for convenience. Especially if it's online, you're not gonna have an account with American Airlines,
Mhm.
okay? It's for convenience. The only part of this that I have a slight concern with is that convenience factor. Whereas it's easier to go and order, and they're not gonna do this, but
Mhm.
we'll use it for an example, because it's the only one that comes to mind. I'm not gonna go down to Townsend Ford to order a new vehicle when I know the state has set places to buy it at negotiated prices.
Mhm.
That's all I'm trying to
Right.
think of, is
Right,
that
yeah.
we don't forget that that's there.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why I don't know,
yeah.
do we put for I don't know if for convenience is the right,
I'm gonna say honestly, reading this through, it's of necessity vague. It's not specific. You can buy this, you can't buy that,
yeah.
and so forth. And if we can reduce the overall cost, so much the better. If we can't, well, that's life.
Because I look at it, you look at number 3 and it says used only for authorized purposes. So if you make sure that people know that, hey, if you're looking at these 12 things, I know that's more than that, but if on these 12 things, we have accounts set up and ways that they are supposed to be purchased. Do not use your credit card for these things, you know,
Well, this is where I was going.
yeah.
Should we put a 5 in here prior to using a credit card? Be sure to check with the
Right.
DRA.
Yeah.
state-
Yeah, or pri- yeah,
That's very
something.
reasonable.
Something to that.
Exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
or before, you know, online shop, however you'd put it, yeah, make sure that you know that this is not something we already have a purchase agreement set up for through another vendor.
Or the state has the
Yeah, the
purchase
state,
agreements.
exactly, yeah.
So, I'm gonna put a 5, add comment.
Because I agree with you too, is if it's something that we already have an account set up, that the town has set up a purchase agreement with somebody as well, we should be going through that.
Yeah, I mean, we set it up for a reason, unless we, for some reason, find out that they're way too,
Way too high, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I've seen, sweetheart deals before too.
yeah.
Should it go there, David, or should it go down below?
Go in section 4, you think?
Well, these procedures are intended to accomplish the following, so how are you gonna word it to number 2,
Yeah, these procedures accomplish the following.
Yeah, maybe what you're talking about would go
Yeah,
into the use
okay.
of.
Okay, that's a good point. So that would be like number 6.
Yeah, because I had something for numbers in that section as well.
Okay. Should we strike significantly reduce paperwork and reduce the overall cost, or you just wanna leave that in there?
I'm fine with it being in there.
Okay.
You can,
In number 3, should we put that as the board and town administrator?
I would assume it should be the Board of Selectmen and the town,
Yeah,
Okay.
town administrator.
yeah, because there's other ones too, like further on,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
way our stuff breaks out in section 5, there's all sorts of different things, but I'd say there, yeah, just board and town administrator.
Section
Well,
4?
question,
Oh, go ahead.
can we back that one up just a little bit? Do we want to say the Board of Selectmen and the town administrator? Or do we want to say the Board of Selectmen or the town administrator? It makes a difference. I.e., does the town administrator have the authority to issue?
I would say and,
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a mutual decision,
yeah.
just
Or that
clarification.
we're aware that so-and-so has a credit card.
Right.
Yeah, that goes in with a bunch of general questions I have, but okay.
Section 4?
Some of it's just wording
Yeah.
on but the piece I wanted to put on here for use is where these goods get shipped.
Oh, good point.
Okay.
I think in use, all items purchased with your credit card for shipping. I mean, if you go to a store and you do it, obviously it's one thing, but everything should be shipped to the town office or your respective office. Meaning, if the police get stuff shipped to the police department, nothing should be shipped to your house, because then you get into that whole thing of, well, that was my stuff, and then this was the town stuff, and
Must be delivered to a town complex,
yes,
Yeah.
or a town office, must be delivered to a town office.
That kind of begs a question,
facility.
because there are hours that during the day that the police station is not open.
but those are the out. I mean, UPS isn't going to deliver
Yeah.
at,
No, I've
Oh.
gone up to the door and
Yeah,
nobody there.
so they put a sticky on the door, and
Okay,
or they leave the package.
yeah, all right.
or they know that they can, as long as it's not something that's restricted, they know that they can then deliver it to the town office, and they'll put the sticky note delivered to town office.
So no items should be shipped to a personal residence.
Yes.
Yes.
And number 3, if we could just change that to New Ipswich.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. And I put a note to myself just on this, we should make sure that, that is locked on this town's, Amazon account as well. Just for my own. it's
What's
just-
locked?
That you can't change the shipping address on the town's
Ah.
Amazon account. Like on my Amazon account, I can have like multiple
Yeah.
shipping
Yeah.
addresses. I think we should find out, is there a way to lock that so that if you order something through the town's Amazon account, you can't ship it to your home.
So we'd only have the 3 addresses, the DPW here and
Yeah.
What about fire station? No.
Well, fire station.
Yeah, I mean, just I think however we have to do it,
Yeah.
or just put it on there like when this, or however you have to do it, because I don't know if we have an Amazon policy, but I think on here, just a little thing, this includes use of the town's Amazon account, or,
But I'm assuming the Amazon account is just linked to the credit card, right?
It is,
So it's,
yeah.
Yeah.
still falls under this.
right,
Yeah,
okay.
Number 4, I did like Bert, did I just change that to town administrator instead of finance director?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's what you were referring to, Bert.
Well, you're saying
yeah,
Switch above.
yeah, you
Yeah.
will switch above and then
yeah,
town administrator.
town administrator, okay.
Section 5. On the item 2, I had put that as the town administrator just on that one.
Yep.
Because to me, they should be held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And then on number 3, I honestly don't know what Roger's title is.
Accounting clerk.
Accounting clerk.
Okay.
My thing on number 3.
Yeah.
I don't like timely manner.
Very,
Very last words, it is a cardholder's responsibility to submit the receipts in a timely manner. That's too vague.
Uh,
Where
2
you
weeks, 1 week, 30 days?
Timely manner.
okay.
I would say
I think it needs to be like,
Receipt
2 weeks.
With it, no,
no,
2
within,
days.
yeah.
2 days.
I'd say, within 2 days of purchase.
Can we make them 2 business days?
Yeah.
That way,
Because, even if you buy it, you can print the receipt right away.
Yeah.
And then bring it in. Well, I don't have it yet. That's fine. Hold on to it. Because
No, but even the printed receipt is fine, just,
I don't want them to go, well, I want to be able to inspect it and find out before no, we're going to have to pay the bill and then get a rebate
Yeah.
back onto the card. So, I think 2 business days. And then we don't have this issue of things not getting found or paid.
and then on 4, I would change those 2 titles to the accounting clerk.
yep.
And on 5, the town administrator instead of town manager.
Mm-hmm.
6, I thought was a good one.
Yeah,
7,
I was good with as well.
what's that?
I was good with 7. I mean,
I
obviously,
just changed it.
but
Yeah, yeah.
notify the town administrator instead of finance
Yeah.
director.
Number 8, I don't know if they had another form or something that said all cardholders shall complete the agreement to accept credit card. I don't know if it's this with a signature line.
Yeah, that's what I would think it is this
Okay.
with a signature line.
Employee signature,
Yeah, that way they have the rules right in front of them.
yeah.
And other than that, I thought 8 was good. It
Uh,
sets,
Yeah, it's just that last sentence, I'd like to say, while employed or after separation.
well, the fraudulent piece, if they're, the rest of it's
Yeah,
covered in here.
but just to let them know that this is where it talks about legal action. You know, if they use it while they're employed, you know, we want to be able to go after them just as much as if they're separated.
So after separation
Uh,
or,
I was gonna say while employed or after separation from the town, but either way.
credit card while employed.
And then I had a couple
Yeah.
general questions. Who will be a card holder, or who's currently a card holder and shouldn't be?
My understanding, the only ones that have them are the department heads.
Okay, so we're talking,
correct? Will be-
Joanne has one.
Joanne?
The fire chief,
Fire
police chief,
police.
and Peter. Now, do any of those subcommittees like cemetery or, so that's
And-
four, five, four.
It's been brought to my attention that, cause Carlotta's name is on the one that I have, so we have to change that. And Nicole uses credit card a lot, so she has to come to me to get that. So the suggestion was made that she should have one.
Okay. My question is, should we, in this policy, list who gets a credit card, period?
No, because I think that's what it says.
Board of
The Board of Selectmen and Town Manager will make all decisions regarding issuance of credit
Okay.
cards, so instead of, because otherwise then you have, again, you're getting too specific or not specific enough, or, so if they go, someone, like you said, okay, if the rec department, that's a discussion we would have, and we would or would not issue.
Okay. Next question, how about central supply? I know, Joanne, you maintain a room there with all the paper and stuff, paper goods and so forth. Does Peter order his own paper? Like he needs
Yes,
memo
I think
pads
so,
or
yeah.
something like that?
Yeah.
Question is, should he be doing that or should he be coming up here to central supply?
I don't think he orders very much.
No, I'm sure he
Yeah.
doesn't.
We had that discussion a while back, and we said if they're all going through the same company, which we have the contract with, or however it is, they're gonna pay the same price, and at least they get their ream of paper there, instead of
Yeah, okay.
having to drive down here, and, or
Okay.
someone didn't tell, it's like when your kid doesn't tell you how to milk.
All right. Now, normally we give all the departments a budget, right, for various supplies and so forth. How are we tracking those budget items on
Yes.
a regular basis?
Yep.
Okay. Does Roger red flag something when somebody's
You
budget?
get it every,
Quarter or so?
month.
Okay.
Yeah, at the end of the month, you'll see the budget items and then how much has been spent against it versus.
All
But
right.
they, when they have a, supplies budget, is it envelopes or is it transmission fluid, that was a bad example, but you know what I'm trying
Yeah,
to say.
I know what you're saying.
Rooms.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
and then it's one of those things when they come to us and go, well, we really wanted this. Okay, so what line item are you gonna take it out of?
Yeah.
Because really, we're managing to that bottom line. And so if they really feel they want something, then you go, okay, well, you gotta figure out where you're gonna take it out of.
Okay, so you let them manipulate the funds through the accounts.
But they have to have budgeted for it. If,
Right.
in other words, come up with an example. Peter comes in and says, hey, I wanna buy a new plow for one of the pickup trucks, okay? Well, did you budget it? Unless he's got a plow line item or new equipment, you can't say, well, I'm gonna take it out of, the,
Paper goods.
yeah, I was gonna say the, salary account. No.
No, okay, all right. Last
You
item
reminded me of something, I
is
put a note down.
accountability of the goods received. Let's assume they're delivered, 12 cans of oil, okay? How do we know what's the inventorying like down in the,
Same as it is with Parks and Rec.
we have no idea what's going on.
Well, it's money. Is that what you want to spend your day doing, Bert?
I
Do you wanna
have
go
no
down an
interest
inventory?
in doing counting cans of oil.
Right.
I don't either, but I'm gonna give you an example of something that somebody goes and buys a projector. You don't want it delivered to their home.
Mhm.
Where's that projector kept?
Well, I would say, it's, wherever it's going to be used until, like, for example, I would say something was it purchased by the rec department for pool activities? Or was it purchased by the rec department? Okay, then it should be in the rec department's office.
Which is where?
Don't you have an office downstairs here?
No.
I thought we gave her an office downstairs. We gave her an office downstairs 2 years ago. Told her to use some space.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
No, we didn't.
We
Oh,
did.
We cleaned that out, didn't
Yeah,
we, that
see?
room downstairs, but I don't know.
See, David?
Which room?
There's a room downstairs.
The
we told-
janitor's closet?
I don't know what it is,
Remember
but
emergency management had a lot of old stuff in there,
yeah.
and then before Jim left, he cleaned it all out. Well, mostly all out,
So when you go down the stairs and you take a hard right,
straight ahead.
that's where I was thinking you kept the plans for,
You know, that's the next one.
okay.
I'm just suggesting, you
You're
know,
not losing it.
I'm just
I mean, I
saying,
remember
you know,
that.
you worked in the construction industry for years, David. You
Yeah.
know that on a job site, supplies migrate
Mhm.
off the job site.
Mhm.
What accountability do we have other than the department heads watching? That's it.
You wanna hire somebody else to watch them?
No.
I mean,
But
you
that's why
wanna.
you have the department heads.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
And it comes down to the budget process to go, why, well, we went through this. Why did you suddenly go through more this year than you went through last year? Why,
Yeah,
and like I said, I don't, we oversee it. I don't want to spend my day micromanaging each department head and going, hey, turn in an inventory sheet to me on what you used for oil this week.
No, but would you ever consider setting a value and getting an inventory of equipment or whatever that exceeded that value? And being able to have that department head on an annual basis or something, hey, confirm, yes, we still have this, or no, this broke.
yeah, I mean, the big
Whatever.
items, yeah, but
Do
we
we-
should also have a feel we should be using 200 gallons of oil during the course of a year, or 500 gallons of oil during the course of a year, not 1,000 or 1,500. The police department should be using X number of gallons of gasoline a year, for their
No,
normal.
we had that, we
Yeah.
have.
That we have
so I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
That's
things-
all
That's part of the
budgeted.
budget.
Yeah, I know it is,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, things tend to, get lost.
See, I'm more concerned, and I'll use an example. Suppose DPW had a generator. Next year, do we have where's the generator?
Yeah,
Did it walk? Did it
well,
get stolen?
I mean, I heard a story that the rec department had a computer a few years back.
They still
They still
do.
do.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know where it is?
Yep.
Okay.
Nicole's got it right now.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, did you say rec or did you say pool?
I think I said the rec department, but
Okay, it was the pool department that
Yeah.
had one. I don't remember the rec department had one.
You say she does.
I believe she has her own computer, but she has the pool's computer.
The pools.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Remember,
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, the pool one got,
misplaced.
they got put in, remember it was downstairs and it got
Oh,
it went away, so then they had to get a new one. So I think that's what she has now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, she has a laptop.
I'm just saying that, the bigger equipment items we should track. I mean, that's.
Well,
kind of
we
what it
went
is.
through this last year, and that's why we're saying that things need to be shipped here so that we know they were received here, and then they should be stored appropriately, not stored at people's houses, things like that. Because we went through this last year or 2 years ago with some batting cages.
but unless you track it, it's useless information.
Yeah.
Information we don't
Yeah.
have.
But at least we know that it was purchased and that it was truly purchased.
All right.
And,
So
so
at least we have an
Yeah.
awareness.
yeah.
And each department, remember they did that inventory of all their equipment and stuff.
I
so
remember
do
we asked
have
for it,
that.
did we ever
Yeah,
get it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we do have that.
so maybe if,
Should
Yeah, probably
be
do an
updated.
update.
yeah,
Yeah.
like maybe on an annual basis, just put
Yeah.
it back out.
Yeah, I
Did you
mean,
add to it, or,
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just to get a good feel, and that could be folded into like the capital improvement program to an extent.
Or at least you'd know.
depends on
Well,
the value?
well,
Yeah.
or at least you
major
know.
items,
Well,
major items.
well, it's the thing too. Is at least you know, it's like when were those purchased? They was purchased in 2015. Why did they only last a year? Because you're asking for them again this year, and you know, well, so no, I get what you're saying there.
Because they trash it.
Well, we had this whole
Yeah.
disagreement about whose was whose, and so we ended up having to buy new.
All right, that's it.
Wanna wait till we get it cleaned up and vote on it and
Yep.
put it into effect?
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it's good.
Yeah, just send
Did
it.
you write number 6 out, section 4? Oh, yeah.
I just said add comments about using established accounts, including state bid items, but there's a term for that on the DRA's website. I forget what the state calls it.
Okay. And then this one at the back too, I think we have, because it says complete the agreement to accept credit card, but.
And that's what this,
changed.
we're gonna do this, and that's like
So we're
employee
gonna
signature.
call this whole thing an agreement?
Credit card policy and agreement, or
Let me
something.
see.
Just change the wording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All card holders.
How about all cardholders shall sign
Sign.
this agreement
shall
prior to
sign-
the issuance of a credit card?
Yeah,
Shall
Or
sign
sign
this procedure or
policy.
Yeah.
yeah. Unless unless there's some form that, like when you fill it out to have your name and all that, is there a form they have to fill out when a card is, meaning, like a
They-
credit card agreement, is there?
Oh,
I think we just add them, don't you?
yeah.
Okay,
You just,
all right, then yeah, then I would just say you, yeah.
Okay.
I think I had emailed these to you, which was the draft from Bart on the
Yes,
release.
Release, yeah, I have a copy here.
Did you send it to Paul?
I did, but I
Okay.
didn't hear.
No, that's
Yeah.
fine, wait till he,
So I just hold that.
yeah.
Okay.
I did speak with Peter today about, staking those corners, and he said before he had gone on vacation, and when they were cleaning it up, he did, the pins are in the back corners, he knew where those were, I asked him just put the great stakes, and if he didn't know where the one in the front was, he was gonna wheel it off and
Mhm.
put a great stake. Old Town Hall sill repair, I did go out there and,
Did we, were we going to accept this release agreement before you move on, Dave? I looked at it and I said, wait a second, this does not really fill in all the blanks and stuff. It's not a really well-written agreement.
I thought it was perfect.
I thought it was horrible.
Coming from, I will not change something that
Comes from-
council drafts. Now, if he had something in error there,
Well, I mean, it just, I don't think we have any rights under the agreement that I read from the original agreement. Basically, it was a complaint from the neighboring property.
no. The original agreement, which is what they have asked to get released, was an agreement with the town and the previous landowner
Yeah,
that allowed the town to infringe 25 feet onto their property.
okay,
And upon notice from the property owner, or their signees, heirs, whatever, then the town would be obligated to remove everything off of the property locate the corners, and there may have been a third item in there.
All right.
But if you, and I didn't bring it with me, but that original copy of that agreement is what he's trying to get us released from, which is what they were
All right.
looking for. Because as the owner had said, was when potential buyers saw that the town had the right to infringe on the property, that's why they.
Okay, so we're basically giving the easement back to them.
Yeah, in other words, say, no, we're not gonna
Okay.
infringe on your property anymore.
When I read it, I took it to mean that some of our stuff that we were storing at the highway garage had gone over into the adjoining property. And I was particularly concerned about the PCBs that may have migrated over, and whether or not testing had been done to assure everybody that they were gone.
There's nothing in the agreement about hazardous materials or
Okay.
whatever.
I mean, if we're just releasing 25 feet of
This was the agreement between the town and Philip Thayer. The town of New Ipswich hereby acknowledges the fact that sand, debris, which includes the old town equipment, both wood and iron, tires, barrels, iron railings, etc., are approximately 25 feet across the property line
yeah.
between the land of Philip Thayer, the town of Ipswich Highway Department found an electric light. Philip Thayer agrees to allow the above to remain as is until such time as the town highway department relocates or Philip Thayer, as heirs or signs, gives the town of Ipswich 60 days notice by registered mail to restore his land at town expense.
Okay.
So what we're saying is, we've cleaned it all up, the owners acknowledge that.
Okay.
How do we?
Okay, we're just giving them back their easement.
Yeah, the only thing I don't know, and is this something that Debbie can find out what that book and page
Yeah.
number was?
3375888. You're talking about those blanks about halfway down the page?
Yeah, yeah,
Yep. 3375 and page 888.
okay, we can get that. Well, wait till we get a response.
Yeah.
If they say it's fine, then we can send this off.
Okay. Old Town Hall.
Old Town Hall. I met out there this morning with Matt Brown. What a worker. He must have been 3/4 of the way down digging that trench in that building. He says, and I wanted to go deeper, but I started to hit the water table.
Not unexpected.
But he did point out more from the exterior is where you see it. And the sill is rotted. And at that front corner on the long dimension of the building, somebody scabbed in probably a 4-foot piece of sill, which went from a concrete bulkhead to a concrete, stone, whatever, but it's support. There's no foundation underneath it. And he's thinking at some point in time somebody had to get access under the building, and what they did was just cut out a section, put in some stones, and then put the piece back in. So a lot of that, and where that beam comes along the length, it's rotted, and then the beam that goes along the front, the end grain, is facing this way, and that thing is just powdery. But he didn't know what the extent was. So I'd asked him if today he could take out the clapboards on that front corner, see how far it goes, and then get us a proposal to correct it. He did mention that we should cut the grade down said we have 2 feet of foundation. I says, first, that's not our property. And so, what I would like to do at some point in time is, again, discuss with the owners of the land there, but whatever the elevation is of the back left corner, whether or not we could cut that grade along the building towards the street, so that any water that does flow, could flow this way, because right now it appears that everything flows right into the foundation. And I was telling him the plan was to put in French drain with stone and whatnot, but he says typically even with the splash onto the stone drip, it's gonna go back on there, and that's what he's saying is causing the rot. So I did tell him that when he did his proposal, to figure on putting some ice and water shield or something up, 3 feet, so.
Sounds like we need gutters.
And then they freeze in the winter and break and whatnot, so.
And you have to clean them and so forth, yes. Do we have money to actually make the remainder of the repairs? We have
Yeah, it would come out of the,
building fund.
building maintenance
Yeah.
fund. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say I'm reluctant to put more money into that thing without resolving our other problems. John, you were checking into some of that?
Check in what?
Septic system, parking, and,
Well, I mean, we have to have a meeting with the property owner, and he's, so at that point, he'll be able to discuss that. And then as far as, the parking, that's just a good faith agreement with, again, I can't sit on this side of the table and talk about the other half of the
And
agreement.
I don't expect that, but I mean.
I'm a trustee of the church, so I know what our request would be. But like I said, I have to recuse myself from one side of the table to discuss the other side of the table. I mean, basically, we would love to have use of, the building again and that's really what it would come down to is, anyone, as long as, we're not saying we're going to try to supersede anyone else's use of the building, but, you could use the parking all you wanted as long as we didn't have a function already going on. But we would like to be able to have use of the building for if we had something going on that,
But I'm thinking that the town also has the parking area down along Central Cemetery.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So I can't see that we're ever gonna have, 500 people in that building.
no,
It's gonna
but
be,
you could possibly get 100 in there?
even if you had
50?
100, so if they come 3 in a car, you're talking 30 cars. Would you fit 30 cars along
Yeah.
South, keep saying South Cemetery, Central Cemetery,
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, at no
Yeah.
point would the church go, we want money for park. No, that's not what
No,
we're
but,
asking.
okay, so when can we talk to the owner of the adjoining property about a septic?
I'd say we probably need to make sure the building's not gonna fall over before you take the next step,
Yeah, I think from
And-
speaking with Matt, if you look at the right-hand side of the front of the building, and then as it returns, because there the grade does this. So there we have probably 2 feet of foundation now that's exposed. And he's saying, that side there looks pretty good. It was that front side where we probably have, I don't know, maybe 12 inches max. So, I would, before setting up a meeting with you, I would like to get his proposal so that we can strategize on how we fund it and what the timetable would be. But I do think meeting with the owner of that property to at least have a preliminary discussion, is it possible, would be advantageous.
Sooner the better.
Yeah. But I think the sill repair, as he says, it's gonna be on the order of the magnitude of probably 3 to 4 times what he's currently contract, because that's what he's saying, it's about 3 to 4 times more area to do, so.
Did he seem willing to continue the work?
Oh, that guy is just great attitude. I mean, that'd be the last thing I want to do. And I went in there with him, you know, to see what it was he was doing, and, you know, he's like, oh, yeah, you know, he says, I don't know, I said something to the effect of, I don't know how you can work in here. He says, I guess I can't hire you then, huh? But he was like, you know, this is what I do. Hard worker.
Yeah.
But you could see from the inside, as he had described previously, is that the framing members don't go to the sill. There's a 2x that's connected to the sill that the joists are bearing on. So, which is fine. I mean, and like he says, you know, when he does it, because I told him, I said, well, you know, when you look at things here, and he can, he says, no, I'll pull a line and we'll level it to that and shore everything up. So, should be.
Okay.
So if we get a proposal for him next week, maybe after we have that, and
That'll put us to the
then we
11th.
can, well, next week will be the 1st of June, then we'll know what the cost is gonna be, and then we can, maybe schedule the meeting with the owner after that.
Well, that's the 11th when we're doing our police meeting, is it?
No, but I'm saying
Oh, yeah.
schedule after, when
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
know what the cost is gonna be. Actually, we probably have to should have 2 conversations. One is with them. And one would probably be with the Friendship Manor on water. Police facility public meeting. 2 weeks. And I wanna make sure when we go in, what facts, what questions. I wanna absorb a lot of what the residents are gonna have to say, but for questions that are coming back to us,
Well,
I thought we'd have that on the agenda here now to start.
have we been able to have someone look at the 2-year ago or 3-year ago plan and run a new number? Just
I can do that.
because that's going to be a question. At least that'd be my question if I went in there. That'd be one of my first ones. Is, you know,
Current cost.
I'm gonna look at it strictly from what that facility was, not with adding.
no,
Okay.
no, just with the police facility. Because I was looking at it, I was online for something else the other day, and I noticed he's lowered the price again on that building.
Oh, Tim had told us that already.
Yeah, but I don't know how long ago it was. It's been lowered 3 times since I think the first of the
He
year.
has been lowering it once a month.
Yeah, that's what Tim had said
Okay,
he was
yeah.
gonna do.
Yeah.
Was it, I think the last one I had heard was 350.
I think it was lower than that. It seems
Yeah.
like 335 or something like that, 325. Yeah, yeah, he is. I mean, it's right on there. You go to the Peterson's group or whatever, and you look. It says motivated seller. You know, lowered 3 times since the beginning of the. I mean, it says it right on there. You know, lowered again, whatever. Yeah. So
Maybe I'll just buy it and rent it out to the town.
there you go.
They'd be stuck with it. But I'm trying to, just so that it's fresh in our minds, I think maybe at next week's meeting, we go through those
Cards and
cards again and tabulate whatever questions
Yeah.
might come up.
Exactly. Look at like I said, so many of them. Like I said, that it's the part that frustrated me is over and over again on those cards is we just voted this down. No, you didn't. You voted down a plan that we proposed. That doesn't take us out, and then we, you know, it doesn't take us out of the need for something.
Mhm.
And then we keep getting the thing. Well, why don't we just stay where we are? Because that's really not. That could not be an option. Like, and it's still a poor excuse for a facility with our current location, not if we. So and that's the thing that got me is that there were so many things on there that were questions that we had answered at all these other meetings, and yet people just didn't hear. So that was my comment to Asha, is like that's why this is all we're discussing, is because hopefully people will be able to come and truly listen to what we're saying about why are we pushing this agenda so much.
Yeah.
So
But I would be open that if somebody says and comes up with something
Oh,
that,
yeah.
hey, that's creative, let's
right,
Yeah, I mean,
look
Yeah.
at that.
yeah, but bring it, you know, don't bring it at the 12th hour with
Yeah.
misinformation.
So we'll do
Yeah.
next week to go through those.
Go through the cards. Yeah.
Okay, renewal of Primex Contribution Assurance Program. I don't know if you gentlemen read that. Offer, I'll call it, that was in the folder for the last couple of weeks with, they are our current insurance carrier. And they make an offer that if we commit to using them for the next 3 years, that our insurance would be capped not to exceed a predetermined value there. I think it's 10%. I should be wrong, but
So you have workers and you have property, so you have 2. And I think one's 9, one's 10, I think.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
they also do the liability.
Property and liability.
Yeah.
yeah. What if we asked our current insurer to match this?
That is
our current insurer.
So,
What they're saying is that we've been a client of theirs for so long, as they have with a lot of municipalities, that if we sign that, we're committing to them
for 3 years.
for 3 years.
I'll be honest, I'm good with it, only because we
Yeah.
have shopped it out before, and they always seem to come back where we need it. And
I mean, have we had any claims in the past with them? I mean, what sort of history have we had with them in the past when, you know? I mean, have we filed a claim?
Other than workers' comp, I can't think, we haven't had any claims on facilities that I can remember.
So,
During any of the storms, did they have anything, do you recall?
No.
so,
Y'all lucked out. I said, y'all lucked out.
so we are paying somebody to make them rich.
I just don't understand why we would sign it. Cause as I'm reading here, it's a 9% increase each year is what they're saying they would cap it at.
What have our increases been in the past?
Don't know.
Okay. So if we could find that out and find out, have we had, obviously I'm sure we've had something, but what have the increases been on average for the last 3 years?
Yeah, or even go back 5 years. I mean, how long have we had them? They're saying long-term client,
Yeah, they had it in here, I think.
you know, what's been the average increase? And my other question, being paranoid, is why would they make this offer to us? I mean,
My
they're not doing it
understanding
out of the
of why
goodness.
they do it is because the more people they have in this pool reduces their exposure,
Yeah.
like any insurance.
Well, I'm just wondering if they're trying to lock us up because they see something in the horizon that we don't.
No, they
No,
do this.
they do this,
all
yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time.
And I'm
we've
trying to think,
done
I
this.
don't think we signed it last time.
I have to check, cause I
Yeah,
don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
I think they
Did we?
handle when we have, like cruiser accidents with the cruisers and things like that, so we have used them for that kind of thing.
how have they been? Have they been responsive?
Mhm. They're very good and they're very quick and, easy to get to and.
Well,
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine either way. Like I said, I would just, the only thing I'd like to see is, okay, if we go back, like I said, 3-5 years and see what our increases have been, and if they've been less than 9%, then there's no reason to sign. If they've been 9% or more, then maybe it's worth signing.
But what we would need to do though is you'd need to look at two things, not only the cost and what it was that we were getting insured, because every time we get a new vehicle, I'm sure, or
Mhm.
another vehicle, the
Yeah.
rate would go up.
yeah, yeah, we have, you know, one, vehicles cost more and more each year, and two, you know, we have the cost of living increases year to year, 3 or 5%, somewhere in that range.
But at the same point, if they've offered this to us before and we haven't signed it, then I'm fine with not signing it as well.
Yeah, so property liability, they'd cap at 9% a year. Workers' comp, they would cap at 10% a year.
See, that one, workers' comp, because you have, does that include, like, say we had a claim, would it still cap at 10%?
No. Where did I read that?
Yeah, I mean, somebody makes a claim on workman's comp and it just soars out of sight.
Yeah, because they go back X number of years and they drop off, you keep dropping off years each time a new one comes on. So you get a claim and it's there for 8 years, something like that, 7
Yeah.
years before it falls off.
The percentage listed as a maximum increase. Actual increases will not exceed that percentage and may be lower based on each member's performance. Performance still impacts contribution amounts. So it remains important for both Primex and our members to leverage our partnership to effectively manage risk and any claims that occur. So I think under performance, if you had a lot of claims, they'd say, well, you're performing poorly, your rate's going up. And maybe it does cap it.
Yeah, but it sounds like it, even though it would go up, but it would cap out at 10. But if we have no claims, we could end up
I
at
think it was
3.
here in the fine print.
But, you know, if we've been reasonably safe all these years, I don't know, I mean, you know, what do you do? An accident can happen anytime.
Yeah, cap protects the members from most contribution increases during the cap period, i.e. those resulting from account underwriting are directly caused by changes in the member's loss history, property and payroll exposures. Cap does not prevent Primex from raising contributions across the pool program to meet the actuary's reserve funding recommendations. Losses, the way I'm reading this, John, is it would cap out even if you had
Claim.
a claim. And if we do, we'd have to vote on it and fill out the form here.
I would just like to see the last years, if we could put that on Joanne's action list for, say, 5 years, and see what that percentage works out to be, and then make a decision, maybe at our next
Just,
meeting.
Can you give it to Roger and ask him to pull out what we paid them for each one of the years?
Mhm. But then, like you said, you have to look at claims. right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, even if we, pretty much, other than upgraded vehicles, we haven't added vehicles to the fleet. We haven't added, except for this year now, I think we picked up
The brush.
no, I'm thinking the fire garage.
The brush truck there, or?
No, the old,
Oh, yeah, we picked
the one
up.
that the fire brigade had.
Yeah, the
'Cause there was no
antique building.
insurance on it. And Jim said he was supposed to send us a letter that the brigade is gone, so we didn't wanna leave it uninsured. But other than that, I can't think of
Yeah, anything
equipment
major.
that's
Yeah.
major. I think if we just knew what the cost went up.
Okay.
Yeah, if we knew what we were currently paying, that might be good for a baseline.
Background check policy. I'd like to make the recommendation that the $10 fee we've been charging people and then reimbursing them if they pass the background check.
This is just volunteers.
Mhm.
The other ones are different. Like the emergency management director.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
This
So
is
rec department. Yeah.
We do those automatically, right?
This is more what?
Costs more than $10.
Yeah,
Oh,
50?
so you're saying, well, it's
25?
60.
60. I mean, I think we,
This is but
Do
the
it what?
volunteer one's only $10. Okay.
but why wouldn't you do it no matter who it is? I mean, have we had many people that have come in with a background check that
Fair.
failed?
Okay.
I think we're
Yeah, and again, yeah, if they're paying and then we're reimbursing them, yeah, why don't we just attach a check to it and send it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I'll go along with that as well. I so move.
Hang on, we're not there.
Oh.
We're still in the discussion stage.
Discussion. Oh, well, okay. Dies for,
Any other discussions? All right, and,
It
Go
took
ahead.
a long time to make that policy. Remember the chief, police and the fire chief and, were you here? No.
that's why it's so easy
Quite
to change it.
involved.
I mean, do you recall why they did that?
Well, in case somebody failed. Yeah, but the history is that not many.
They
I mean,
don't.
I don't even, I can't even.
And, you know, when you look at it from that cost basis of how much time goes into tracking people down, get the check processed, we send it out, comes back, now we gotta write a check, and
horrible waste.
for maybe 1 in 50, let's say, that don't pass,
Mhm.
is it worth it? I don't think it would be.
Let's just do it.
That written policy? I remember it being in that
It wasn't
I
in
thing
think
that we went
it's,
through. Okay,
It's a procedure, I don't think it's a,
okay.
I don't have it here. I've read just the volunteers.
Yeah.
That's all I have. I don't
Okay.
have the whole thing, what everybody has to do. and-
I would make a motion that the town revise its background check procedure in so much as the town will incur the cost for the background checks for both volunteers and permanent employees.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Strange thought, but do we do background checks on our elected officials as well?
No,
Okay.
they're all perfect.
God bless them. Each and every one. So we can have,
Well, the only elected official I think that anything does is tax collector, right? The bond company must do something on them,
yeah, I mean,
but,
so we can have some strange elected officials, but no strange volunteers.
There
look
you
at the
go.
Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
Point made.
All right, school payment we already discussed. Any new business?
Is there any
Oh.
action on this, dear?
Yes, there was.
What is it?
This was the letter that we received from Rick Donovan regarding Green Farm Road and the driveways that we said we're gonna send letters out to,
Yeah.
uh,
Oh,
yeah,
to schedule a meeting?
to schedule a meeting
Oh,
with
okay,
them.
I did see that, sorry. So you want me just to set that up?
Yeah, maybe after the week of June 11th, that'd be the 18th.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I just have stuff that I was asked to look into in different pieces. So I mentioned, so just because it was brought up in public, the solar, I did look, and it is a pool. So what happens is, like right now, if we wanted to get involved, we would fill out the form, and the next time a solar farm was built somewhere, we would be one of the people to reap the benefits of that solar farm, and you then get a rebate on it. I've just asked for additional information. Supposedly there's no cost to us, whatever, but it's not them coming building solar here. We would be,
it's probably very similar to like where you get your supplier cost compared to your delivery costs on
Yeah,
electricity.
yeah.
So it's that type of piece. So there's a rebate on your electricity. But I did just ask for some information just so I can get terms, etc. The MOU with the Sauhegan Valley. Okay. So I guess it's a lot of, I don't know. I met with the fire chief and Sean Talbot the other day, as he is one of the, he's on the, like he's kind of like the town's rep for the Sauhegan Valley.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So he was explaining there's like
When
one
did he
line.
get appointed?
I don't know when. But so basically, I think it's coming down to this one line of where they felt that they were covering the town and different, and so I basically explained to him. I said, we're not going to go against council. This is what our council says. Here's the documentation they gave us. So I basically gave them the form, and it shows that we're in contract with them, or if it was a contractor. So I told Sean, for example, and he says, yeah. He goes, no, I have to supply that exactly that form. He says, but they won't sign it. So
I'm assuming this is the indemnification.
the indemnification, yes. So I gave them the exact form, and the last piece on the entire form or suggestion we got was, you need to go speak to your council. Okay? That is the issue. They won't, or up to this point, won't go speak to council. So that their council would go, no, that's a completely, that's what you should do, and this is what it means. So they're interpreting it through their own reading of it, and have not sought counsel for them to explain that, no, it's not putting anything else on. Basically what we want to make sure that, which we all have all read, is that, okay, if a townsperson gets in an accident or something happens at their house, Sauhegan Valley goes, picks them up in the ambulance, and as they're driving down the road, the wheel falls off the ambulance and the wrecks. They can't sue the town. That's what it says.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason there, and we're not 100% sure that that's the line that they're worried about, but they're reading it that they are covering, so if the police also respond, that now Sauhegan Valley is covering the police and covering. I'm like, no, that's not what it says. So I have asked Sean to bring it back to them along with Meredith and just have them go speak to their council. It's probably something that's going to
Why don't
cost
they
them,
just give it to their insurance company?
which was another suggestion. So,
Okay.
so that's where we sit. So, I mean, literally we could have this thing that's been bouncing around for I don't know how many years. Hopefully it'll be done, and that's that.
That just threw me for a loop. Not that
Yeah.
Sean, but typically I can remember in the past we've appointed the members for the
Mm-hmm.
SBAS.
Mhm.
That's why I'm saying that one, because I'm thinking it was Jim and is it Darryl?
Darryl,
Ojala?
Ojala?
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
Ojala, yeah.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking it was them too, and that's why we said.
Well, they are, but yeah, he's. I don't know. I guess it's. Yeah, he's. I don't know.
Well, next time when you talk to him, ask him, did you ever get appointed?
Yeah. So,
And
but I guess he's filling the position. It's like the
so
town's
did
rep.
Jim,
Maybe Jim did. I don't know.
now that I'm thinking, was there another guy? There was another gentleman. He drove that yellow Pontiac Solstice.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think of.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
so we know who we have
Yeah. So
representing the town.
yeah.
It's a good thing to know.
Yeah. So, well, I was very impressed. Though. I mean, Sean was very, he took very good notes because when we were sitting there, he knew exactly what we were talking about. So I was very impressed with what he brought to the table. So,
the pool. So the pool media is going to be pumped out this Thursday. But Peter is still waiting on prices for the replacement media. Okay. He's not sure about the laterals being replaced, which are, you know, they are.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he doesn't think that's the issue. He says he believes the issue was more having to do with water from having to pull water from the stream out back and drain in the well in order to get water into the pool to fill it to the right height. So, but I think that had to do with that leak, maybe.
Yeah, I'm saying, once he gets the media out of there, I'm assuming that they can tell.
Right, they'll be able to, yeah, because
Yeah.
the lateral's at the bottom of that,
Yeah.
so. But that's it. Then she was able to pull the logs up for pool attendance on Sundays in 2018. And obviously, well, basically we said, you know, we'll open it once we're staffed and then monitor it and
Yeah.
judge it on that. But on the Sundays that we were open last year, there were 3 days where more than 25 people showed up.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was one, like the first Sunday that it was open, there were a lot of people.
Yeah.
Or the second Sunday was open for something. I'm almost wondering whether they had an event because it's that drastic of a jump.
See, I'm thinking that most residents are thinking it's not open, and then when they find out it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it went.
Could
But
also,
did she say how she was making out with staffing?
Not yet.
Okay.
She was not able to be here tonight. She had something else to
Yeah,
go to.
that's-
but it can also be weather related if it's pouring rain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was like 0, 27, 57, 23, 31, 0, 13, 13.
And I'm gonna bet you that 0 was probably the time we had the pool closed.
But yeah, that's my guess. Yeah. So, so that answers those two. In a conversation when we started talking about when we were getting the new brush truck for the fire department,
Yeah.
and again, this is just a conversation of a conversation, and I just want to make sure it goes out there so that we have this, it's in front of the board. So Meredith was talking about, you know, so the old engine, the old pumper was behind the garage here.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's the one they use for flushing culverts and things like that. So I guess
No, that one never got used for that. The one that we sold?
no,
Oh,
no,
sorry.
no. I guess it's the old pump or whatever, the one they do use for
Okay.
blowing out culverts and all that. I don't know, but anyway,
Okay,
so
yeah.
because they're not going to, it's the one they have is all outfitted with the pump and the whole deal. So the fire department has no use. So they were talking to Peter, or she mentioned to Peter, and he says, well, all he really wants is the pump or whatever off of it, or the tank and the pump. But he had an interest in getting a flatbed to put it on. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, there's a vehicle that it sits on now that moves it around just fine. Why would we invest? Why would we get rid of that truck for pennies on the dollar to then go out, because when we sell it, we're gonna get pennies on the dollar for it, to then go out and buy a flatbed to put it on. So I just wanted to put it out there in case that ever pops up. It was kind of said to me, and I, you know, did that whole dog with a whistle thing, and, you know, kind of turned my head and went, that makes no sense. So I'm just
You
putting it
didn't
out
hear
there.
the other half.
Okay. So I just want to make sure that we all have heard that, whether it is.
He mentioned that to me when we were talking about the one that we did sell,
Okay.
that was behind there. And if my memory serves me correct, I think with the flatbed, you were saying, well, then I could take and put a sander body and a plow in the front during the winter. And at the time, I said, well, it's not been budgeted, we
Right.
have no imminent need, but maybe that's where.
Okay, maybe that's
he
where
was
it came
going.
from.
But if
Okay.
we're using it strictly because we have one with a pump on it, then I would say use it as is.
Right.
Yeah.
Run that thing into the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Digitally.
yes. So
So, what is she doing, what did she do with the brush truck? Cause she told me that she was able to get the new one to fit in there. Does
Yes,
that mean now that that other one got pulled out somewhere?
yes,
Do you
that's, that I can't, I don't remember.
Okay,
But yeah, she says everything fits in there. Everything's there, so none of the current vehicles are out in the
okay,
weather.
so the brush truck, she found, the old brush truck has a home,
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
alright. Any new
Cool.
business?
Really? What?
Really?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.